Everything's fun once you get it.
Yeah. Just the rules are pretty synthesis will be about 4 to 6 steps. You'll want to solve backwards. Every other step will be an alkene. He'll say this in class, but how do you make stuff? Alkenes. How do you make alkenes?
With stuff.
Haloalkanes. Before starting, what I like to do is see where I wanna, like which direction I wanna go, right? So the VR in the first one is like all the way up here, and we're here, right? So you kind of want to go like there, like reach here. So working backwards. How do I make stuff? Alkenes, right? So I'm gonna put the alkene here. And then to go from an alkene to anti-addition of OH, what are we going to use? That'll be on your table. Yeah, 2 OHs anti-addition across a double bond.
So anti-dihydro hydro.
So MCPDA and H3O plus. So I'm going to write that here.
So synthesis is just going backwards?
Yeah.
Oh.
And then how do I make this alkene? Haloalkane, right? So I'm going to add Br, but should I add it here or here? Since we're moving in this direction, we want to end up there. So should I add the Br here or here?
The bottom part?
We're going in this direction?
E.
This way, right? Here?
Why?
Because I can either add it here or here, but I want to eventually move up this way. So I'm going to get closer and closer to here. That's why I'm going to add it here. Does that make sense?
So then after 2 more steps, would the BR be at the bottom?
You want the BR to eventually be here. This is what they give us to start with. And since we're working backwards, you want to end it here. Yes, so for this, the BR going from here to this alkene, did it add Zaitsev or Hoffman? Hoffman, right? So that's going to be a bulky base. So you can write CH3, CO minus. How do we make stuff? Alkenes. Again, we're moving towards in this direction. So I'm going to add the alkene here this time. And then this, this alkene to add a BR. Did we add it mark or anti-mark? From this alkene to this BR. Yeah, add it on this side. Mark? Is this side more substituted than this one?
Oh, no.
So it's anti-mark, right? So anti-mark addition of BR. Which one is that? Yes, hydrohalogenation. So HBr and ROOR. How do you make alkenes? Alkane. This time I'm gonna add it here, again moving towards the top. Did this alkene add Zaitsev or Hoffman? So Zaitsev is Zaitsev. So top, right? Yeah, because if it was like here, that's 2, and then this one is 1, 2, 3. So Zaitsev. And for Zaitsev, small base, CH3O minus. How do we make stuff? Alkene. We're near the top. This time, did the BR add to the less substituted side or the more? So it's mark addition, right? Mark addition of BR is which one? Yeah, the first one. So just HBr, no RO or R. So just HBr is gonna add mark. HBr with ROOR will be anti-mark. And then finally, we can go from here to here, right? Also, if you have a primary substrate turning into an alkene, you'll always use bulky base. So that's one whole synthesis. This one has 6 steps.
Could you explain how you go from single to double with the bulky base?
Single to double. Which one?
From like the very top to the second step.
Whenever there's a primary substrate, you'll always use a bulky. It will never be a small base.
He's asking how do we go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like from step 6, right? That would be the last one. How would you go from 1 to 6 if we were doing this the other way? I think that's what he's asking.
Oh, like this way?
Yeah. Like how did it go from the BR being on top of the alkene?
So primary, bulky, we'll add an alkene here. And then adding HBr will be mark addition of bromine. And then small base will be alkene Zaitsev. And then adding HBr ROOR will be anti-mark addition of bromine. And then bulky base alkene addition Hoffman. And then finally MCPBA will do anti-addition of 2 OHs across the CCW.
Wait, my question was like, how did you even form the double bond in like step 6?
always.
It's here too, yeah.
This is a special case because normally a primary with bulky base would be E2 Hoffman, right? But in this case, there's only like one way it can go, right? It can't like this BR since it's like at the end. It can only go here. There's no other way for it to form an alkene, right? Or a double bond.
So
This would be the only outcome of that.
does the BR like collapse? The bonds from like the BR.
So the BR will leave. This bulky base will attach a beta hydrogen.
Okay.
So maybe this hydrogen. And then this will shift here.
No.
Sense?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
What did you mention bleeding from? So many
I'm gonna do another synthesis.
Wait, but if we were to do, like, if we go backwards, if we were to use the whole base, wouldn't the carbocation end up on tertiary or no?
Going backwards where?
Like, the first step, because we're leaving group BR leaves.
Yeah.
Oh, and then we place the hydrogen in place of BR?
No, this hydrogen was the beta hydrogen that the base attacks because it's the elimination.
Oh, I see,
Yeah. Elimination, it will always attack the beta hydrogen, which will form the double bond.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, in this case, we're also moving this way, right? You want to end up there.
No.
How do we make stuff alkene? I'm gonna add it here. Then this OH added.
One small question.
It's
Yeah.
a
How do you know that's where you came from and it wasn't a different possibility?
Where's
Like going to the end, right? Where we have a OH group, how do we know it came from this group right here, where there's a
This
double
group?
bond? Yeah.
Yeah,
There
so,
wasn't a substitution.
every other step will be an alkene. So to make anything, you'll do an alkene, and then the other step to make the alkene will be a haloalkane. Like it's always gonna be that way.
It will
Yeah.
always be an alkene.
It'll be alkene, haloalkane, alkene, alkene.
Because you can if you're doing substitution. Like if there was a BR over there,
Yeah.
you can also get that same exact end result. That's what I was thinking.
And then in this case, the OH added anti-mark or mark? Anti. And this was just one OH.
OH was
Addition of anti-mark OH is hydroboration oxidation. BH3. And again, this will all be on the table provided to you guys.
Wait, why wouldn't it be hydrocolonization?
Because it's an OH.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
And to make an alkene, we're gonna do a haloalkane. Again, adding the VR going this direction. And then this alkene, did it add Zaitsev or Hoffman? If it added here, it would be 1, 2, 3 versus it added here 1. So Hoffman, is that going to be a bulky base or a small base?
Okay.
Alkene, right, to make stuff. This time it added halogen, ER. Anti-mark or mark? Yeah. Because if it added here, it would be
Yeah.
mark. If it added here, so it's anti-mark. And we know that anti-mark HBr, R, OOR for bromine. Next up, make alkenes with haloalkane. I'll add it here to go up there. Did this form a double bond Zaitsev or Hoffman?
Another?
This to this.
Zaitsev.
So is that going to be small base or bulky? Okay. Did it add the bromine mark or anti-mark? I mean, there was 2 places that the bromine can add, here or here. It added there. Is that the anti-mark option or the
Mark.
mark? Mark, right?
Because most.
So that on your table is the first hydrohalogenation, HBr only,
Okay.
and then we can go straight from here to here. With, again, I said primary, the alkene will be bulky, base always.
Why is it bulky?
Whenever you start with like a primary and you form an alkene or a double bond, it'll always be using a bulky rather than small base.
Wouldn't it not matter since it doesn't have anywhere to go?
I think it does though, because that was a rule that it's always going to be bulky in that case.
Yeah, what do I know? I don't even know what R1 is.
Yeah, for the most part, synthesis problems will always follow this like every other step. Alkene, halo,
These are fun.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah, it's just half of the thing is already done for you with the alkenes. And the other half is just moving.
Then we have to do that ourselves.
You give us 2 steps. It's the last one. So this is.
Yeah, the exam will have 1 mechanism problem and 1 synthesis
This is
problem.
synthesis.
One synthesis?
Once it and it's the one that's the biggest one of the whole thing, 12
And
points.
it'll say in the question, if it says synthetic root, you know it's synthetic.
Yeah, it's in that is. And the other one that we just learned is the second base one, 10. Everything else is worth 5.
And that covers everything for exam 2. And we'll have a mock exam on Thursday.
Wait, so if the exam 3 is from chapter 9 to 14?
There might be some that are on the final that aren't on the third exam.
Yeah,
Of
course.
Because each exam is like 4 chapters. So I think 2 chapters are gonna be the finals are not part of.
yeah, 2 chapters and everything else in the whole.
I'll get back to you on that though. I'll check the syllabus.
That's it, right?
Yeah, that's it.